Welcome to the React Charts tutorial. In this video, I'll demonstrate how to bind remote data source and customize the empty data points in the Syncfusion React Charts. To begin with, I'll open an existing React app incorporated with the Syncfusion React Charts and bind with the local JSON data. If you want to know about creating a React app and adding the Syncfusion React Charts, I recommend checking out the link video in the card above. Additionally, you can find this specific example by following the provided link in the description below. Now I run this application by using npm start command. You can see the chart displays the sales data using column series. Next, I will show you how to bind and remote data source to the Syncfusion React Charts. For remote data binding, the Syncfusion Data Manager comes into play. The Data Manager functions as a bridge between local and remote data sources, using queries to interact with them. First, remove the import statement that brought in the sales data from the data file and data source property. Next, import the Data Manager from Syncfusion EJ2 data package and create as instance for Data Manager class. For this example, I'll use this online Web API endpoint. This Web API endpoint returns an object with a value array containing orders data with fields such as order ID, freight, customer ID, employee ID, and more, which are meant to be bound to the charts. I assign this Data Manager instance to the data source property. Then I change the xName and yName properties value as order ID and freight. You can see that the chart is populated with data retrieved from the Web API endpoint. In some scenarios, you might need to send additional query parameters to the server when making API calls. This can be achieved by utilizing the query property. First, I import the query class from Syncfusion EJ2 data package, then initialize it. The query class allows to build queries that specify what data we want to fetch. In this example, I use the query class to specify that I want to retrieve the first 5 records. Then I assign the query instance to series directives query property. Now you can see this query data is used to populate the chart. Empty points are data points that are either null or undefined. By default, they are not plotted on a chart. However, you can customize the visibility of empty points using the empty point settings property. First, I remove the query instance and remote data binding from the application. Again, I import the sales data from data file. Then set sales data to data source property. Next, I open the data file and set the February month sales value as null and August month sales value as undefined. Then I change the xName and yName properties value as month and sales. Now, observing the chart, you can see gaps for the empty points. To address this, utilize the empty point settings property to define how empty points should be displayed. For that, I import the empty point settings module from Syncfusion React Charts package. Then declaring an empty point object with type of empty point settings model. And I need assign value for mode property. Mode property have 4 available options. That's our gap, 0, drop, and average. The default mode value for empty point is gap. Now I set mode value as average. And I can change the color for empty points by using the fill property. I set fill property value as pink. Next, I set series directives empty point settings property as empty point. Now you can see the chart plotted with the average sales value of the preceding and subsequent months instead of showing gaps for empty points. Let's have a quick summary. In this video, I have demonstrated how to bind remote data in the Syncfusion React Charts component, and also show you how to fetch specified data using the query class and customize the empty data points in the chart. You can get a working example from Syncfusion React Charts documentation page linked in the description for this video. You can also see if you're eligible for our community license, which will provide you a free license key to use our products. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it useful, give it a like and subscribe to our channel.